Let's throw our hands in the air as we soar through the sky.
Yatta!
We'll catch the sun with your hand in mine, and if we work as a team, everything will be fine.
Yeah!
Oh, it's Cure of the What Now?
Let's henshin and start the show!
Hello, fellow student council candidates, and welcome to episode 30 of Cure of the What Now, the only show where we know that Laura won that election. By a lot. My name is Kat, and I am a person who left in the middle of my speech because I thought it would be better to go fight evil with my friends. And to be honest, I was right.
Absolutely. I'm your co-host, Joel. I don't have anything particular for this episode, so I'm just going to say this is how a podcaster talks.
The new My Little Pony movie was really funny, you guys. You should go watch it.
It's pretty good.
If you like this, you will like that. I have been saying for a long time that My Little Pony is magical girls, so...
If you like the Genki girl, which is the high-energy, cheerful girl, in case you don't know that slang term or that Japanese term, there is a unicorn in this movie that is that. It is Manatsu, but as a unicorn.
She's fantastic.
Yes.
Joel, other than the fact that we watched the My Little Pony movie and it was good, do you have any announcements for our fine
I
listeners?
don't really believe so. One thing that you and I were talking about before we started this episode is that we want to try and guess what the next episode is going to be about, but there's usually so little continuity that matters that we just kind of end up doing a bunch of crack theories. You know, maybe Manatsu will discover a robot from space. Oh, that's a really good one. Should have saved that. But because it's not really interesting for us to just make up plot points and then just be completely wrong, what we are now going to do is we are going to read just the title and try to avoid as many visuals as possible, and we will speculate on how that episode might go.
Hehehe, listeners, how do you know I prepared and have the episode docket open, but Joel doesn't? Because he did put an announcement in the episode docket that he forgot to mention.
I have it open, I just didn't read it.
That's fair. Last year we did something called Kingtober. For those of you who don't know, there used to be an event called Inktober.
That's copyright, can't say that.
Exactly. The guy who runs it was basically like, none of you can sell anything under the name Inktober. So a bunch of artists on Etsy who were selling zines made of their Inktober drawings, because it's draw a different drawing every day for the 30 days of October. They got in trouble and they couldn't sell their zines anymore. Bad news! So we here at King of the What Now decided we were going to do our own 30-day October challenge.
October has 31 days, April Ludgate, just so you know. That's why...
We were going to do our own 56-day...
That's why November is the novel NaNoWriMo, because there's exactly 30 and that sort of thing.
Well, thanks, babe. I'm so glad for the quick maths.
So, yeah, absolutely. Like Kat was saying, what you do is you get a different prompt every day. Last year, I drew a different... PreCure character or characters for each of the prompts that we came up with. Kat, you did a few drawings. I don't know if you did all 31. I can't remember. And then a couple of other people took the prompts and were using it to write short stories.
Yeah.
We would love to see any art that you do, whether it's just for like one day or all 31 days or what. We will tweet out an official, kind of like a nice image with all of the prompts on it.
Absolutely. So... Oh, Curetober also is a pretty good...
It is, and if you're listening to this, you know, I encourage you if you want to just draw all PreCure. But yeah, originally I was thinking that it would be kind of all sorts of nerdy things, but I just decided that I wanted to try to draw as many PreCure as possible.
These challenges are a super fun way to start your creativity. We would love to have you join us. Tag your drawings or works with the hashtag Kingtober, and we promise not to copyright it. Not to throw any particular shade. That put to the side, there were no other announcements on our docket. Joel, do you have a discussion question for me this week?
I do, yes. So we're, probably through the halfway point of the season, and so I was just wanting to check in. What's your ranking of the 5 characters in terms of like least to most favorite, or you see what I'm saying? And then what could the show do that would maybe bump up that number 5 spot, make you like them a little bit better?
Okay. Number 1 is obviously Laura, my favorite.
Of course.
And the reason for that is I just have a soft spot for goblins. I think it's because I'm kind of the older sister caretaker type in my own life, so I don't get to be a goblin as much as I would like to be a goblin, but that's one of my favorite character archetypes, is just nasty little man. We're using man in the gender-neutral sense here, of course. Number 2 is Sango, because she's cute. I wish that she got more character development, but her visual design is just so good, and she always has the best background faces. Like, if you're gonna be a background pony anyway, that's the way to do it, right? Number 3 is Minatsu. Minatsu has gotten most of the character development this season, and she's fun and exciting, and she's real good at punching stuff. I'm pretty sure there was a line from this episode where she was like, "We'll just punch it to death." So I like her a lot. I'm actually going to surprise you here, and I'm going to say Minori is number 4.
Okay.
Because Minori, I think, has also had a lot of character episodes. And so there's more to her than I would expect. Like you've said before, we don't necessarily always like the shy and quiet types. And number 5 is Asuka, and I hate to say that because after Sango, I think that she has one of my favorite visual designs of all of the cures. However, unlike Sango, she's got nothing. Her personality doesn't necessarily say cute to me. We haven't had enough episodes that are about her, and the episodes that are about her have fallen a little flat so far. And she doesn't really have anything that she brings to the table aside from, I'm the voice of reason of the group. So I think to move any of these characters up, the show would just need to focus on them more and give them more plotly relevant time. Particularly Minori and Asuka, making them more of like actual members of the team. Minori gets a slight raise above Asuka also because of her habit of scaring Minatsu just for the heck of it.
It's a bit of personality more so than some of the other things that you might like. Oh, Asuka's in the tennis club, or used to be in the tennis club, and that could be interesting, but on its own, it's just a piece of information. Whereas scaring Minatsu is an interaction.
Exactly. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would definitely have to put Laura at number 1. It is the goblin character. I think what's fun about goblin characters is if they go full Bender chaotic, where they're very selfish, it can get really annoying because, like, you wouldn't be friends with a real-life Bender, or chances are you wouldn't want to be, or you wouldn't enjoy it.
Eric Cartman from South Park is technically a goblin, but I hate him.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Bender is likable most times, but there's certain episodes where it's like, oh, you just made him be the jerk because you needed something to happen to cause a conflict, and so you have this character over here. But Laura and Erica are characters who are still cinnamon buns for the most part, but they're just a little dash of chaotic energy, and it's never like... Sometimes I guess it could be out of character, but it never really feels out of character if they do something kind of silly or whatever, and that, that's why Laura gets number 1 spot. Minatsu is my number 2. Her energy and her go-get-'em power is like... I know it's what all pink cures are defined by for the most part, but she just exudes it in a way that is unique to Minatsu, unique to this kind of like tropical aloha energy kind of a thing. Sango is number 3, purely because she's cute. She also hasn't really had much time in the spotlight. And then I honestly don't know if I prefer Asuka over Minori. I like Asuka better for her design, and I think that if they went back to her kind of being this kind of badass big sister, I think she would be an amazing member of the team. But Minori has gotten quite a bit of time in the spotlight. So I would say I personally like Asuka better, but Minori is the better written character.
Right, we could have stuck with her being that character who got into fist fights with people over minor things, and that would have been funny.
Yeah.
I could have vibed with a character like that, but as it is, she's just sort of there.
Make her a little bit like the Kara Danvers as depicted in DC Superhero Girls, where she gets along with the other girls, but maybe every once in a while she's just a little cocky.
She bullies Sango, but in friendship.
Okay.
Like Kara Danvers bullies Bumblebee.
Okay, that's true. Now, I would say that, like you said, the thing that we need is more conflict. And I was thinking about, not they need to, fight each other and that sort of thing, but all good stories tend to have some kind of conflict, some kind of problem that the characters are trying to solve. And a lot of the times when we have these episodes... like the one with Asuka's dad performing the rain dance or the sun dance or whatever, I guess you could technically say that gave us more information about Asuka, but we never really got her feelings on it, and she never really had the conflict. So we need more situations where, like, Manatsu wants to help this one kid's club, Tropica, shine, but Sango befriends this other kid, and these two kids are kind of like enemies, and so Sango and Manatsu are kind of like, why can't you see it from my point of view, or something like that. We need more interesting dynamics.
Yeah, like you were saying, Asuka being embarrassed by her dad is a piece of information, but absent any sort of actual interactions, that's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the discussion question.
Hey, there's a secret individual who ranks higher than everyone else.
Who's that?
Karurun.
Yep, I realized as you were about to say it.
We give thanks and praise to Karurun.
Karurun is pretty great. Without them, society would simply collapse.
You know what we haven't mentioned in like 20 episodes?
Viva Spark, whatever it's called?
Mermaid Monopoly Monday.
Ah, yes, of course,
the greatest AMV ever made. Thank you, Mermaid Monopoly Monday. Joel, would you like to hit me with a sweet, sweet, succinct summary?
Yes, and it's very easy this week. Laura decides that she wants to become student council president, but while giving her speech, she has to leave in order to save her friends from the villain of the monster of the week. And this, the girl who is currently vice president has become president of the student council, and that's it. We get a little bit of Asuka backstory.
Ask me if I like this episode.
Kat, did you like this episode?
Nope.
Whoa, you're the positive one, though.
I am the positive one, and I will say, like always, I had fun with this episode, right? It was funny. However, Laura should be... We've talked before about how we feel like Laura's arc is learning to be less selfish and learning how to be a proper leader. And so this episode should have tapped into that a little. And I think they tried. I think that was the point of her having her notebook full of ideas that she and her friends came up with together. But there was no real moment of her realizing, I can't just want to lead for the sake of myself. I have to, like, care about improving the lives for the people I'm trying to be in charge of. And she never really had that moment. So it felt like kind of a waste of a character episode. I will say I thought it was cute that she abandoned her own goals to go help her friends. That's her becoming less selfish.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
But I didn't feel like the trying to be student council in any way was impacted. The character growth she's undergoing was separate from the actual events of the episode, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I could see that. And we loved Laura at the beginning of the series because she seemed like a cutthroat, B-word. And so she kind of became a lot more friendly after the first, say, like 5-6 episodes. I can't remember exactly when it kind of happened. And now we kind of go back to her being haughty and her being like, oh, I will just become the president by virtue of being me. And she kind of learns that she has to, like, listen to people, but I agree that she didn't really follow through on it. And, yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if she had had a conversation with the current vice president and the vice president had said, like, why are you fighting me so hard? Look, I have all these ideas for things that I want to do to improve the school. And Laura would be like, you don't really mean those. You're just saying that to get people's attention. And then she could see the vice president, like, out planting flowers in the school's flower bed.
Doing the hard work and getting dirty.
Exactly, yeah. Like, actually doing things for the school. And she would realize, like, oh no, this person actually does want to do this job. And I don't. I'm just doing it for my own selfish reasons. Bless the return of Goblin Laura. I do love seeing her as a haughty princess goblin, but like you said, kind of feels like a step backward.
Yeah. Would you like to know the thought that I had while watching this episode?
Tell me your thought.
Alright, so this would work slightly better if the Grand Ocean cast of characters was a little bit better fleshed out. But what if this is the episode that symbolizes that at the end of the series, Laura is not going to want to be the Mermaid Queen? We've been talking about how this season is likely going to end with Laura being like, I gotta go back to the sea, and Manatsu being like, but you're my friend. And we were wondering, would Laura continue to follow her dream, or would she stay with the girls? And it is possible, although it seems more likely that she will become the proper queen because it's a PreCure show, but what if she realized that she just wanted the position because of the glamour, and this is the episode where she kind of learned that her friends are more important, so this was kind of foreshadowing for her making that choice.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Unfortunately, PreCure does like to have that we're all going our separate ways sad moment.
Well, not only that, but in, say, like Go Princess, right? Best season, we've said that many times before, but the girls don't really do much to become more princess-like, I would say. I mean, Haruka kind of learns how to do, like, the proper tea ceremony, and she learned how to speak more gracefully.
They learn how to embody Suyuku, Ushkushku, and the other one.
Yeah, Cusco. Emperor Cusco. But I would say that although I loved the characters, I loved the villains, I loved the visuals of that season, I didn't understand what dreams and being a princess, how they were similar. So I could see this season similarly being like, oh yeah, Laura got really strong kickies, and she learned that she loved Manatsu, and that made her a good queen. Like, that sounds like PreCure logic to me.
It does, absolutely. You know, we rag on Healing Good a lot this season, I think. But one thing that Healing Good did do is it didn't have the moment of dramatic separation at the end. Not really. Wind Girl, I wanted to call
Asami.
her... Thank you. I wanted to call her Asuka, and I was like, that wasn't right. Asami went back to the spirit realm with the fairies, but... Otherwise, they were like, yeah, we're going to keep healing the world. Let's work together to make this a better place for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Heartcatch, they didn't really separate. But yeah, it seems like in the last couple of years, a lot of them have had that theme.
At the end of Healing Good, they all ran off to be eco-terrorists. They're fighting the Japanese whaling industry by blowing up ships in the night.
Oh my goodness gracious. Please do not follow any suggestions of violence by us bringing up this topic. All right. Is there anything else about this episode? Any other particular moments that stood out to you?
No, I mean, I didn't really write down any favorite quotes or anything. It just kind of was an episode. I felt like we kind of got some more plot, but I can't remember where. I remember watching the episode and thinking, oh, is this some plot? But maybe I'm just mixing up.
I think there's two. I think one, the butler knows what the land ring is. I don't know if we mentioned that last episode, but when they showed up and they used their new final attack, he was kind of like, oh, that's the land ring. Interesting. So the butler probably has a plan. He was the one who discovered the location of the treasure on Manatsu's home island. So as everyone has been saying and speculating on the internet, not everyone, but it seems like a popular theory, maybe the butler knows more than he seems to. But the other thing that we got is that Sango and Laura and Manatsu have found out that Asuka used to be on the tennis club with the current president of the student council. And so we know that is confirmation. That's why they don't like each other, but we don't know why they broke up.
Mm-hmm. I still feel like it was probably the president wanted to focus on school and serious things.
Oh, yeah, no, I get it. But, like, I don't know. It feels like there's too much animosity between them, and the director or the people who draw the episodes, the animators, someone is putting emphasis on the fact that whenever they see each other, they both kind of get upset. So I don't think that it was just like, hey, next season I'm not going to join the tennis club, or I'm not going to rejoin. I think it was something like, the big grand tournament is coming up, and Shirayuki, I think is her last name, was just like, I'm going to go study. These finals are super important. Asuka's like, but it's the finals. Like, I think there was a fight.
Peace out, B-word. So we usually talk about Futari Wa first when we move on to our other PreCure corner, but I'm really excited because you got to the Halloween episode this week, which leads into the Kira PreCure a la mode movie. So would you mind talking about Kira first?
Absolutely. So really quick, for anyone who is watching these episodes at home alongside me as I make my way through Kira, because I've gotten to the part where the movie takes place, this upcoming week for Cure of the What Now episode 31, I will just be watching the Kira movie. Do you remember what it's called?
Nope.
Okay. Something, they go to France.
That's the exact title, I think, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So this week, I watched episodes 36, 37, and 38. Let's talk about each one of them kind of in turn, give them their own breathing space.
And let me jump in for 38, because I would like to read word for word what you sent me on that. But go ahead and start with 36.
Okay. So, something I didn't realize, but 36 kind of made me figure out, 34, 35, and 36 as a trio of episodes are about taking 2 of the 6 girls at the Kira Patty and giving them an episode where they're kind of in conflict or working together in some way. So that first episode was Yukari and Ciel, where Ciel represented the fairies, Yukari represented the cats. Yukari got turned into a cat. That was weird. The next episode after that was Himurine and Ao, where Aoi is like this outspoken person, and Himurine is this quiet person, and they complement each other in that way. So 36 is the last remaining pair, the only 2 that haven't gotten an episode together, Akira and Ichika, where they, because remember, they're next door neighbors, they're entering a competition where the town is basically divided up into districts.
Into neighborhoods.
Into neighborhoods, something like that. Yeah, different regions. And they compete in various fun activities, racing and don't break the egg and 3-legged race challenges and that sort of thing.
The Ichika's dad is embarrassing challenge.
Yes. But it turns out that because Akira is such a good athlete, the entire Ichika's neighborhood is like, oh my gosh, we're going to win, no problem. And Akira starts to feel unwell, and this is an episode about Akira allowing other people to take care of her because she's always trying to take care of other people. So Ichika figures out that Akira is getting sick, and by the way, I love it when characters don detective outfits. Ichika was adorable. I think any character who's normally not dressed as a detective, dressed as a detective, will make me go, that was really cute.
That's why Kendama Detective from the train
Tokyuger
was
Sentai.
your favorite character.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so they take care of Akira. And that's the overview of the episode. Other than Ichika dressed as a detective, I'm not sure if I had a favorite moment or anything else to particularly highlight.
Diable was hot.
Oh yeah, that was this episode. So, Diable, he first shows up, and he's basically half a wolf. His back half is kind of the spectral form, which I think I mentioned. And then he goes, and he takes a nap, and he levels up, he evolves into a full wolf. One whole wolf. He's got the front paws, he's got the back paws. Then they defeat him again, and he goes home, and he takes a rest, and he evolves again. And what's better than a whole wolf? You might think a big wolf. Or maybe like a 2-headed wolf, or a mecha wolf. That's where Digimon took it with Wargarurumon. Garurumon. Metal Garurumon. I'm sorry. Garurumon! Okay, but you would think that maybe he'd still be a wolf-like creature. But he's this ripped dude with a wolf head. But, wow. That was attention-grabbing, is all I could say.
Yep, it certainly was.
Yeah. So that's basically it. We also got, again, on the note of characters being in different costumes compared to what they normally wear, we did get Aoi dressed as kind of like a Yakuza leader type of a thing. I'm not sure exactly what look they were going for, but it was like this imperial... Her mansion counts as its own neighborhood, so her staff are competing with her. And that was pretty great.
It was. I really liked their outfits. I will say, you mentioned that this last set of episodes kind of focused on each pair of the girls. There was also a secret subplot where Graves was maybe trying to figure out how to do some mischief.
Yeah, I guess I could mention that here. That makes sense. So what Graves has been doing is he's like, wow, Diable is really strong. And then at one point he mentions to Elizio, he's like, imagine if you could control that kind of power. And at one point he talks to Diable and he's like, Diable, do you want to give me your power? And Diable's like, I'm a dog. I'm pretty loyal to Noir. No. And so after they defeat Hot Guy Diable, and he goes off to evolve into who knows what he was going to become next. Maybe a dog giraffe or something, right? But he gets absorbed into Graves's car. How did you remember which episode that happened in?
Because you have it written down on the docket.
I do?
Under episode 36, Diable gets eaten by Graves' car.
Oh, yeah. Should probably actually read my notes, huh?
Why do you write them if not to read them?
In case I forget what the episodes are about. Usually my memory is pretty good. But yeah, they technically don't show you what happens with Grave and Diable, but it's heavily implied, and we're slightly older than the targeted age group for this show. So in episode 37, we get quite a few things, but the most important thing is that Graves' car has a Diable head on the front part. I'm not a car guy, but it's like a decal, and it's a stronger, more powerful car now, and they don't have the strength to fight it.
You've heard of horsepower. This car's got wolf power.
Absolutely. Like I said, this is a Halloween episode, so really quickly, Akira's kind of dressed up as kind of like a count or a vampire. She's got like a cape. Aoi is a devil, and Himarine is an angel. I wonder what that symbolizes. Ciel and Ichika honestly put no effort into their costumes, and Yukari is a cat girl. She has ears and paws.
Wait, I don't remember. What were Ichika and Ciel dressed as?
That's it. That's exactly my point. Ichika had like a pumpkin hat, I think, and Ciel had like a slightly taller chef's hat than normal. Like, that's why they are not identifiable things. They're just kind of like, oh, they're slightly more orange this.
Okay, absolutely.
But Pekorin got an outfit, and it's the best Pekorin has ever looked in the series and will ever look. I really like that. I was like, oh man, I normally don't feel things for Pekorin, but this is kind of cute.
Now, would you put Pekorin at the bottom of mascots?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She goes down there. Many times when she shows up on screen and she's like, oh, I want to bake. I'm just like, why are you still here, child? We'll talk about it in a second. But she talks about wanting to bake treats for everyone, sweets and stuff, and they act as if she wasn't able to do that before. Like, she hasn't spent the last 37 episodes learning from these master chef people. It's frustrating. But really, the most important thing about this episode is it introduces us to two people. A MILF and a DILF. A pair of them from Paris. So it turns out that Ciel went to Paris. She met this guy who looks a lot like Chef Zeph from One Piece. Jean-Pierre, I think?
Yes, that's correct.
I knew he had
He's got the most French name you could
That's what I was going to say. I knew it was a French name, but... So she, I guess, was kind of sort of learning from him, but not really. And then one day, this woman comes in. She's the MILF I mentioned, and she goes, I'm looking for someone to help me start up my own restaurant. Will you help me, Jean-Pierre? And Jean-Pierre's like, no, I am already contracted to be in the next movie. Do not talk to me, woman. I am not part of the main series. And so the woman's like, well, I'm part of the main series. You, girl, you look like you're a main character. And Ciel went, oui. And then they formed a friendship. They formed a mother-daughter.
They kissed and formed a friendship.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not me being weird, listeners. That's a quote from Gilgamesh.
It is.
Oldest book ever written.
One of, for sure, yes. So, the conflict in this episode is that this former master of Ciel, is that her official title? Master? Mm-hmm. Teacher? Sensei? But she wants Ciel to return to Paris because what does this podunk town in the middle of nowhere going to help Ciel's career? But eventually Ciel was like, this place helps me grow, and she makes a really delicious sweet. I have never seen that solve a conflict in the show before.
She made a pumpkin thing shaped like, I think, a bear, maybe? And she was like, this is what this town taught me that I couldn't have learned in Paris. And her teacher's like, oh, it taught you how to make things in the shape of other things.
Absolutely.
Which is not actually the point, but it's funny to phrase it that way.
True. And now, even though Ciel has decided she's going to stay in Ichigoza, might be the name of the town, she is being invited to a competition, and the Kirapati girls are allowed to come, and that leads into the movie that I haven't seen yet.
You are in for a treat. I loved this movie. I think
Excellent.
It might be one of the best PreCure movies.
Okay.
And also the Maho girls are there for no reason.
I was about to say there's a surprise cameo, but
oh no, I
is.
ruined it. I'm
That's
sorry.
Okay.
You remembered from me talking about it, so I didn't ruin it for you.
I also want to point out, this is going in the thumbnail. 37 had the best Monster of the Week design that has ever been Monster of the Weeked. It was so good. I cannot tell you how much I love the Halloween aesthetic. And so this creature showed up, and I just loved it instantly. And so it's going in the thumbnail. It's my favorite. It was Halloween themed. Also, Ciel has this moment of hesitation where she's like, I don't know, should I go back to France? Should I stay here? What are my actual goals? I've got my Force Ghost brother whose hand twitched in one of these episodes. I think it was 37, but I don't remember. He's not back yet, but maybe we're in the end game now. But she's having this moment of doubt, and she's sitting in her restaurant, and it's Bibbery who says, this isn't like you. Why can't you be the boss bitch that we all know that you secretly are? So not only is it a former villain telling the hero, you're better than this, but also it's the girlfriends that are helping each other through the situation. So I really do appreciate that little nod there.
Hooray for Bibbery! Bibbery Appreciation Club.
Absolutely.
Are you ready to move on to episode 38?
I am, yes.
Now, you were watching 38 while I was at work, and I received the following text from you. Does human Pekorin stick around for the rest of the season? She's only a moderately fugly fairy for the next 8 or however many episodes, instead of a terrifyingly fugly child, yeah? So there is your description for episode 38. Pekorin becomes a terrifying fugly child.
That's literally all you need for the succinct summary. She becomes a child, Ichika goes into mom mode, and that is it. It's literally not explained. At the end of the episode, it gets undone.
There is a piece of Japanese culture that I learned about via exposure to anime where basically when a young child is ready, like when their parents think they're ready, they're sending them on something called a first errand. And it's usually like, go to the store on the corner of our street and bring home some milk. And it's usually when the child is like 3 or 4 and it's supposed to teach them that the world is a nice place and people will help them. And so that was this episode, is child Pekorin is sent on her first errand.
Oh, very nice. Now, I have prepared a statement. I hope that the microphone can pick up the crinkly cracklies of the paper as I unfold
forgot
it.
you had this bit.
It's not a bit. It's a prepared statement. Okay, I'm gonna get my reading glasses on here.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
Here is my thoughts. I have 10 thoughts here. It's a listicle. It's a list form. Human Pekorin should be cast in a live-action Chucky remake. Human Pekorin looks like she eats human toes and frog eyes. Human Pekorin is the end result of Jeff Goldblum fusing with an unknown element.
You're so mean.
Human Pekorin is the source of the laughter you hear as you wander through the bewitching woods at midnight. Human Pekorin is the super secret boss pulling the strings to manipulate the creature you thought was the boss all along. Human Pekorin is the creature that steals fey children from their parents. Human Pekorin should never be given a handshake, for what is lost in exchange can never be returned. Human Pekorin is the physical embodiment of the sound of nails on a chalkboard while you step on a Lego. Human Pekorin is a curse placed upon the land because of a wicked king's hubris that cannot be lifted. Human Pekorin is the creature that haunts Freddy Krueger's dreams. That concludes my list.
Your name is Joel, and you've approved this.
I approve this message. Now, if you think that Pekorin's human form is cute, that's fine. You can't change my mind.
What I'm getting for this is human Pekorin was the inspiration for every Dark Souls monster.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I'm gonna say something to you right now on mic that I have definitely said to you off mic. You are the meanest person I know. And I say that with nothing but love in my heart as a self-proclaimed lover of goblins. Poor Pekorin. She's trying her best. So here's something. I did not know that the fandom hated Pekorin until I got on PreCure Twitter.
Okay.
And saw all the memes about people hating Pekorin. And I don't understand. She's fun. She's not annoying like Meppel and Mipple or Aroma. She's not cute and amazing like Pafu or super awesome like Tart. But she's there. She's a Chiffon class fairy.
Which one's Chiffon?
Chiffon's the baby from Fresh.
No, but here's the thing. Chiffon's relationship, even where we are in Fresh, we're on episode like 20, something like that, I think, it has evolved and she has learned and grown closer to the other PreCure girls. Mipple and Mepple are annoying as heck those first couple of episodes, but A, they get toned down, and B, they have moments with their partners, especially Nagisa and Mepple, right? Mipple, yeah, okay, Mepple. All of the fairies that I've seen that are at least annoying in some way have an episode where they bond with the character and it's endearing, but like, literally, I do not know what this child creature wants. She likes sweets. All of the fairies like sweets. So I don't get it.
Okay, that's fair. I find her bond with Ichika endearing. And she does seem to be one of the few fairies who, like, will throw herself into a scrap.
Yeah, so my views are not influenced by anyone on Twitter. I don't interact with people about Kira enough for their opinions to color mine. But yeah, I would definitely... Someday I want to do a ranking of all of the fairies, but I need to see all the episodes, all of the movies, etc., because sometimes a character gets development later in the series. But for now, she's at the bottom.
We were joking today about a PreCure fairy tier list. Gets their head stuck in a Dorito bag. One tier is, aw, poor baby, I will help them. The other tier is, haha, idiot. Yep. Which tier does Pekorin fall into?
Laughing at Pekorin. Absolutely. And I'm so sorry if you like Pekorin, but their character isn't doing anything for me.
I accept your apology. I maybe it's because it was my first season, but I have some genuine fondness for Pekorin. I don't find her entirely annoying. I wouldn't say she's my favorite fairy. My favorite fairy is Pafu, best fairy of all time.
Pafu is so good.
She's so cute. She trips over her ears and they give her the little hairstyles and I want to give her a hug.
Absolutely. That about wraps it up for Kira. And I know I've said this before, and I know that it's going to be a style that continues with PreCure, but I just don't understand why they won't give me full body shots of characters in new costumes. They usually do it in the movies, but in the show, in the actual episodes, I've noticed that they tend to do a pan up from the feet, and I am trying to practice drawing using these characters as references, and I usually love their alternative costumes, when they're in kimonos or yukatas or whatever, and it annoys me that I never get a full shot of what they look like.
Maybe this is a good opportunity for you as an artist
to give them squid legs.
To practice extrapolating from incomplete information.
That sounds hard. Sounds really hard.
Alternatively, you could do what I do. You take a screen cap of the top half and the bottom half, and then you composite together in paint. You're really on the squid legs thing, huh? Do you want to talk about that?
I mean, I have a lovely wife and co-host who once drew Nico Robin from One Piece with octopus legs as a sort of play on the mermaid genre, and I think it looked great. So I think that we should have all of the different PreCure girls with octopus legs. If you have a girl that you would like to see turned into a squid or octopus, please let us know in the comments.
Yes, but do be clear which one you want them to be, because they are different animals.
Sure, yeah.
Gosh, Joel, you're a squid now, you're a kid now, you're an octopus now, you're a kid now. It doesn't even sound good.
It's true. And the octolings are evil, so, there's that.
I don't think they are as of the newest update, but maybe they're still evil.
I couldn't tell you. Now, we got some tweets in a bottle.
Hey, man. Hey, we didn't talk about Futari Wa.
Oh yeah, we skipped it, didn't we?
Really fast. Pollun went Super Saiyan. That's it. That's the end. They got a new attack, technically. I've got to be honest here. I'm just not vibing with Futari Wa. Like, I know I'm supposed to be the positive one, but this show is not doing it for me.
I think we've mentioned this on the podcast before, but for anyone who's a new listener, I've heard the adage that apparently every episode is someone's first episode. We tried to watch Futari Wa. We got like 6 episodes in, and we kind of got bored with it a little bit because they have improved on the formula as time has gone on. And we got excited eventually. We kind of got into it, but they've kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Like you said, they should have ended the season when they defeated Jakku King. They could have had a season 2 where it's like, oh, this new threat has appeared and they're super strong or whatever. But yeah, it was a weird episode. Pollun the baby doesn't get along with the Keeper of the Stones, Wisdom. And then at the end of the episode, Wisdom needs to entrust the stones to someone so that they can't be taken by the bad guys, and Pollun's the only one who shows up, and he goes, all right, Pollun, I dub thee Super Saiyan Pollun, who uses the power of friendship or light or something to give the girls a new attack that the bad guys cannot defeat. However, these seeds of evil did take the prism stones, and so now the girls have to try to get it back. The one thing that I will note is that when they were fighting the first set of bad guys, I think they have a name on the wiki, but I don't remember what it is. But, the Geki Drago and Passard and Kyria, that group existed in like this weird shadow realm that you could only get to presumably by losing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel only in the American dub version.
Very specific way to travel there.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And there's no way to get back, But these bad guys, their names I do not remember, but they live in a mansion in the physical world, so you could actually have, and I doubt we'll get it, but you could actually have an episode where they have to try to use clues to deduce the location of the bad guy's hideout.
Yeah.
That would be kind of fun. That would be interesting.
Alternatively, Nagisa gets distracted looking for donuts and stumbles upon the mansion and gets her fortune told by someone who will become her girlfriend.
You made that joke last episode, too.
No, I thought I made it while we were watching this episode. Did I make it on mic?
I'm fairly certain that you did.
Whoops, you get the same joke twice. I thought it was a private joke I had only told to my husband.
If you had heard that joke before, let us know in the comments, ring that subscription bell, and stay classy out there.
Punch me in the face, Just come to my house and be like, hey, you made the same joke twice. Screw you, lady, and just pow!
Don't do that. I like my wife, and I would have to defend her. So,
and Joel doesn't like to engage in physical violence.
Look, I only have 6 more henshins throughout my life, and then I will die. So I will use one of those if my wife is in danger, but I only will have 5 after that. So
yeah, and you have to save them for the cats. They try to take over the world like once every 3 years.
when the stars align. We were getting kind of silly. Are we ready to move on to Tweets in a Bottle?
I would say I'm ready to move on.
All right. We got 2 from James. Sorry, James. You posted one specifically in the Thoughts from the Crew channel, which is the preferred channel in Discord, but you also commented on one of the episodes of Kira in the PreCure channel, so I'm stealing that.
I cannot believe you are calling out our only regular content, what word am I looking for?
Contributor?
Contributor for posting in the wrong Discord channel.
No. I'm saying that I think he explicitly said, here's my thoughts on the Tropical Rouge episode. He posted his thoughts on Kira, and I don't know if he intended for us to read them and discuss them. But I'm going to, regardless, because it's relevant.
Okay,
that's what I meant. So, James pointed out that Ichika went straight into mom mode in episode 38 with the nightmare that is human Pekorin.
So mean! Say one nice thing about human Pekorin and then you can continue.
Her stay was not long enough to give me lasting psychological damage.
That was almost nice. Fine. Fine, I'll allow it.
Pekorin paved the way by showing her teeny tiny baby feet so that Laura could run and show her mermaid feet. Her elegance.
I hate that.
She when she first transforms, which by the way isn't exactly explained, I think the real reason is that she has enough Kira in her heart that the legendary patissier Lumiere was like, okay, I'll give you this temporary transformation. It might also be a play off of Kaguya-sama, the famous folk tale from Japan. But she gets transformed into a human overnight, and the first thing she does is she sits up and she looks like a chubby monkey bear creature, and her feet are out, and I don't really care. It's for the memes.
It's for the memes.
Internet believes in feet for some reason, so I guess if I have to say something nice about her, she helped cheer up a child, and that was precious.
Good. Quick question that I forgot to ask when we were actually talking about Kira. Did they fight Graves and his Diable car, or did they fight somebody else in 37 and 38? And Graves has not come back.
In 38, they fought Graves with the car, and they commented on how strong he was, and human Pekorin tried to sacrifice herself and gave all of the girls magic sparkly hula hoops that were supposed to be donuts, and that's how they beat him. His car was damaged but not destroyed, and I get the feeling that he's going to be the antagonist in 39.
Okay, cool. I really like the final conflict with Graves, and I wanted to make sure I hadn't missed it.
I'm fairly certain that's next episode.
Okay.
I did see the preview, and everyone gets turned into zombies, it looks like. Does that sound like maybe the final confrontation to you? Sounds familiar?
Yeah, sounds familiar. Okay. Back to James.
Yeah, back to James. I've noticed that a lot of the pink cures tend to be the most matronly. And I mean, there's some characters who are pretty good with being like big sisters and that sort of thing. Elena from Star Twinkle, that's one of her huge draws. Akira and Yukari are like big sisters. But I really liked, not Erica, Sabomi in her solo movie, in their solo movie, where she kind of adopted this werewolf child as her own, and I thought that was kind of a neat way of showing her. And Hikaru has a really close bond with Fua that is very maternal, and Hugto is explicitly about being a parent, as is Fresh, and I like it. I don't think I want a series where they're in mom mode for all 50 episodes, but it is nice to see them interacting in such a way that they kind of act like a mom. And this is a crack theory / future prediction, but episode where Laura gets reverted to a younger age and is terrorizing Manatsu, and Manatsu has to be mom to this 6-year-old Laura.
Man, her terrible twos had to have been a nightmare. Yeah. If this is what she's like as a teenager.
This is her when she's well behaved.
James did also have a Tropica thought for us, and that's not, a lady on the beach.
Absolutely. James commented that not a lot has happened plot-wise, but he wants to see more Laura being overconfident.
James, like us, has embraced Goblin.
Do you think that if Laura had actually finished her speech, that she would have actually won because she is learning how to be a leader, or do you think she was overconfident and she would have gotten her spirit crushed?
I think she was overconfident. I don't think she would have gotten her spirit crushed. I think she just would have objected loudly to the outcome, because none of the things that she wanted really made a lot of sense. I think Songo's, maybe they could relax the rules and let us wear lipstick sometimes, was okay, but let's have school in the sea was not. So, no, I don't think she would have won, but I do think she would have been like, I should have won that.
I would have liked if this episode had ended with her being angry. If the election had gone through and she'd actually been able to give her speech. Because right now she can basically be like, well, I didn't get to finish my speech. If they had heard it, they would have loved me. But it would have been great if next episode she could have been a little bit more contemplative, and then maybe for the next couple of episodes in the background she could be trying to figure out why she wants to be queen and what's the best way to do that. But maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. Who knows?
Yeah. Find out next time on Tropical Rouge PreCure. Speaking of which, the next episode is called, whoops, I scrolled up, A Train of Troubles, Asuka's graduation trip. So I have two things I want to say about this title. First of all...
Trains are cool. Sorry.
So, do you know... American middle schools are 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Do you know if Japanese middle schools are the same way, or are they 7th and 8th only?
Unfortunately, I do not know.
So there was a line in episode 30 where Manatsu realized the president is graduating. Oh, heck, does that mean Asuka's graduating? Is she going to leave the Tropical Club? And Asuka says, no, don't worry about it. I'm not going to leave the Tropical Club. And I took that to mean Manatsu's in 6th grade, Asuka's in 7th grade. But if this is Asuka's graduation trip, then I was wrong. She's in 8th grade and she's graduating.
Well, yeah, because Asuka and Shirayuki, I need to look up her name or write it down.
They're the same age because they're in a class together.
So I think that Asuka is going to graduate, but maybe what she meant is I'll still be in the Tropical Club as a high schooler or whatever.
I'll come visit you.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my theory based on this episode title. We are going to have a surprise crossover with single best season of Super Sentai ToQger. And they will ride the imagination trains and fight evil.
Yeah.
And it will be awesome.
Imagination totally Tropica shines.
That's what Hikaru said.
Yes, that is what Hikaru said. And I think, and this is heavily borrowing from one of the best games of all time, I think there's going to be a murder mystery on that train.
Love it.
And Asuka's going to have to try to solve it. Hang on. A train of troubles? It's full of trouble, so everyone's a suspect. Everyone might have been involved in the murder, and she has to solve it, or else the Yarane Da will derail the train, and they will all meet their end.
Oh, heck, what if the train that they're all on becomes the Yarane Da, and they have to fight it without, derailing it and murdering all the passengers?
I do like that. One last thought to be a little bit more serious, because I don't think they would do a murder mystery. Even if they did a mystery plot, I don't think that would be
They did do a murder mystery, and it was about the missing melon pan.
That's true. That's true. But on a more serious note, I realized the other day that Songo is having trouble expressing herself and being bold, and Minori has not had many life experiences, as you pointed out, in the episode where she couldn't write a very good story at this point. And so I think Manatsu and Laura are the two that are outgoing, and the other three need to learn their lessons. So maybe Asuka is also a little listless and is not sure what she wants to do. Maybe she doesn't want to take a risk joining a club like the tennis club. Maybe the tropical club is the safe bet, I guess. And so I wonder if this is going to give us some insight into her mind. Maybe she'll be contemplative as they take a trip to, I assume the spa. That seems like the most common place that characters go in anime like this.
Yeah, maybe she's not even sure she wants to go to high school, because not all Japanese students do.
Interesting.
It's kind of an optional thing. So maybe she's weighing, do I go to work to help my dad and brother, or do I go to high school? And she's kind of trying to figure out, what path Tropica shines for her.
Also, I predict it will be a 2-part episode. First part will be the trip to whatever location, and then episode 32 will be at that location.
I've got a crack theory for you.
Okay.
Aliens. Alien squids are going to come down from the moon, and Manatsu's going to have to fight them with their one weakness: buckets of paint.
Absolutely. And that
has been your final thought. Outro goes here.
Thank you for listening, everyone, and don't forget to Tropica Shine.
PreCure.
If I am elected student council president, I shall execute my enemies. Anyone who ran against me is a traitor to the state.
If I'm elected student council president, I'll ask them to make the passing periods in between classes a little longer.
Boo.
Please don't execute me.
Blood for the mango god. Ha-ha! What a great episode of King of the What Now, your One Piece podcast that started from the very beginning and stars these two doofuses. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter is the best place to do that. I am at KOTWN_pod.
And I am at Pirate Ghost Host.
Absolutely, yes. We share all sorts of thoughts on there, some related to the podcast, some related to other things. But you can also reach us through email at kingofthewhatpod@gmail.com, or you can also find us on Patreon. We would love some subscribers or supporters, whatever the technical term is. Patrons. So fancy and grown up. And you can find that at patreon.com/kingofthewhatpod. You can find all sorts of things like bonus episodes, and you get to see the full cold open candidates, not just the ones that make it into the episode. Maybe someday if I learn to draw, I'll put stuff up there. We're always looking for suggestions and feedback. And speaking of which,
please take a moment to rate and review our podcast wherever you get us from. So iTunes, Spotify, Scrivener, that's for writing. But wherever you listen to our podcast, take take a moment to leave a review. It helps other people find us. We are so grateful to all of our listeners, and we couldn't do this without you.
Absolutely. Word of mouth is super powerful, so if you have a friend who likes One Piece and they haven't heard of us, just direct them to the latest episode. And if they hate us, they can tell us why. And if there's an actionable item, we'll try to please you. That's how this works. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.